dimly lit streets of Boston, a group of men met under the cover of darkness, driven by ambition, desperation, and the thrill of an audacious plan. It was 1950, and they were about to attempt what would be known as the crime of the century, a robbery so bold and meticulously planned that it would baffle authorities for years to come. This was the Brinks job. The Brinks armored car depot was considered one of the most secure buildings in the country, holding millions in cash and valuables. But for a group of seasoned criminals, it represented the ultimate prize. Led by Tony "Fats" Pino, a career criminal with a genius for planning, they would go to extraordinary lengths to make sure every detail was flawless. The plan was set in motion years before the heist. For almost 2 years, Pino and his team studied the Brinks depot, learning every security measure, every shift change, and every vulnerability. They observed guard routines, memorized building layouts, and even practiced breaking into locks with copies of the keys they'd secretly stolen. This heist wasn't going to be a quick job. It was a military-grade operation. Each man in the gang had a role, from lookout to vault specialist. They even had a rule to wear soft-soled shoes to muffle their steps and matching navy peacoats to avoid suspicion. On the frigid night of January 17, 1950, the gang made their move. Entering the depot just as they had practiced countless times, they disabled alarms, restrained employees, and moved with precision and silence. Within minutes, they reached the vault, their prize just behind a few inches of steel. Inside, they found more than $2.7 million in cash, checks, and money orders, a fortune worth over $30 million today. They packed the loot into bags and slipped out of the depot, vanishing into the night as swiftly as they'd entered. When police arrived, they were baffled. No clues, no fingerprints, nothing but an empty vault. The Brinks job sent shockwaves through the nation, and the FBI launched one of the largest investigations in its history. But despite the manpower and resources, they were met with dead ends. Tony Pino and his gang had covered their tracks meticulously, leaving no trace of their identities behind. The gang had even agreed on a pact of silence, knowing that a single word could spell doom for them all. For 6 years, the FBI couldn't touch them, and it seemed like they would actually get away with the crime of the century. As time passed, the gang members began to feel the weight of their secret. Paranoia, greed, and mistrust crept in. Some members wanted to spend their share, others feared the FBI's relentless pursuit, and slowly, cracks began to show in their loyalty. Then, one of the gang members made a mistake, a critical error that would undo everything they'd worked so hard to achieve. Joseph "Specs" O'Keefe, desperate and frustrated, was arrested for an unrelated crime. Facing years in prison, he reached a breaking point. In a desperate bid to avoid jail time, O'Keefe began negotiating with the FBI. He confessed to his role in the Brinks job, providing details that the authorities had been searching for. With his confession, the FBI finally had the evidence they needed to bring down the gang. One by one, the gang members were rounded up, their dreams of untouchable wealth shattered. Pino, the mastermind, and the rest of his team were brought to justice. It was the end of an era, a reminder that even the most brilliant plans can be undone by human weakness. The Brinks job remains one of the most legendary heists in American history, a story of ambition, precision, and betrayal. Though the gang nearly succeeded, they learned a hard lesson. In the world of crime, there's no honor among thieves. Today, the Brinks job is remembered not only for its audacity, but for its tragic ending, a testament to the high price of greed. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Crime Chronicles for more daring tales of deception and betrayal. And remember, sometimes the perfect crime is only an illusion.